Okay, everybody in Album Box Adventures, it is the last day of
Okay,
Mountain
everybody
Madness.
in Album Box Adventures.
There we go. It's the last day of Mountain Madness, and we are wrapping things up, but it's not the last day. It's just actually kicking things off, really, for an amazing summer 2024. And I just needed to bring on my good friend Laura Plahuta now because she's one of the most adventurous people I know from how she lives her life. And I think it's really about living it, not just going on adventures. It's about being able to bring that state of mind into our everyday life. And Laura does that in her relationships, in her business, in in her traveling, listening to her instincts, listening to her gut. Where do I need to go? She's so spontaneous. And she stepped into the biggest adventure of life, I believe. Now she just became a mom a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, just over 2 weeks now. On
And,
Friday, it was 2 weeks.
and she's the most, when I talk to her, it's like she's just like a tree in a storm, just kind of like, okay, yep, this happened. I had my baby and this is what happened, and now I'm doing this, and then and it's so pretty amazing. So I wanted to bring her on. And Laura and I she was going to be part of the Tyrolean Mountain High last year. And I know she will be eventually coming and helping me lead an adventure because she has so many different amazing juice nuggets to bring to a mountain adventure. So I'd love her to share. She's coming from Peterborough, by the way, right? You're Peterborough now, right?
Peterborough, yeah.
Um, where this came from, and yeah, what advice can you give other people to bring that state of mind into their everyday life? Give us your juice, girl.
Thank you for that amazing introduction. Hello, everybody that's on here with us. So grateful to be here. And before I get into that, can we just give Carrie a shout out for doing this Mountain Madness and all the work that goes in behind the scenes of like creating something like this and just like doing all the tours and everything? I just think it's so amazing, like what you're doing. And it's just so needed to have those adventure tours and everything that's already done. You really show up and you just go and get to do it with people like you. It's just like so epic.
I
So make sure
received. I
put in the comments. Let us know. Yeah.
receiving.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know. I think I'm an Aries for anybody who is like into astrology. So I'm the first of the zodiac sign, which is like just like a go-getter. It's the ram, right? So it's kind of just like you do things and then you figure it out all as you go. I've never been one to really like listen to what people tell me to do. I always have to learn for myself. So that's definitely something that hasn't always been easy because it's brought a lot of like challenging situations into my life where I get into things and I'm like, oh shoot, like now I've got to learn this lesson to get through it. But I really think that that's been like the biggest thing for me is like just being able to say yes to things and then learn how to trust yourself moving through those situations. And I think my birthday is actually coming up next weekend. I'm turning 33. And it's kind of taken me, it's been like the last few years where I feel like I'm finally in that place where I trust myself to navigate whatever comes, which is a huge feat because before I would just like it just brought a lot of emotional turmoil into life where I was taking things so seriously and things kind of felt a little bit heavier. And I put a lot of pressure and expectation on myself in order to be something or to do certain things, especially in like career and stuff like that. But it's really just been like the last few years since I kind of went on like my healing journey of like diving more into the emotional clearing and stuff like that, that I've been able to like find more joy in life and not take things so seriously and like be able to move through the emotional stuff that comes up, like even like being postpartum and throughout my pregnancy. Like yesterday I was like so emotional and I'm like crying and all of this stuff. Like I've been learning to like, well, yeah, basically learning to breastfeed. My boobs are learning how much milk to bring in and whatnot, and it's been quite an adventure that on its own. But the other night, like it was so painful and I was just like sitting on the couch actually right behind me here, just like crying at 3 a.m. because my boob was just like so swollen and full of milk and just like so sore. So I like went in the shower, and like I feel like even in experiences like that where it's not enjoyable, I have like this ability now to be able to know that it's not lasting forever, like to just be with myself and to breathe through the situation, and then knowing that it's going to get better. And it did. In the morning, I was feeling great again. And I did what I had to do in order to kind of relieve it. I pumped my boobs and away we went. Right. And I'm like, okay, yeah. So I kind of like knew that my boob was a little bit sore before I went to bed. So maybe next time when I'm feeling that, I'm going to pump it before bed so that it doesn't have the chance to get to that point where it's super sore like that. So it's kind of like this ability now to be like, what's happening? Okay, like, how can I see that I can make this better next time? And then just implement it right away. I think that's been like the biggest thing that's kind of like helped me with things. But it's just been a learning journey to kind of like get to that place where I'm able to do that.
That's you just said about 3 or 4 big nuggets just in that 3 minutes. And I think the big thing is being willing to be open to learn from the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And like you just said, I think our fear is that, okay, how long is this going to last? It's like, I'm in this thing, and then we dramatize, and then, okay, there's something wrong with me, or,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that nugget of knowing this is temporary.
Mm-hmm.
And what can I take from this? How can this be different next time? Is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. And like we were saying too, like before on other things we've talked about, it's like it's the inner adventure that really helps us to get to that place where, because I think like the ego, for me, the ego always wanted to be right. And it was all just from childhood experiences or this or that, where it was like I felt like I had to be right. And if I didn't know something or didn't go the way that I wanted, it was like I wasn't able to accept the fact that what I did was not the optimal way of doing it. So it was like I wasn't able to sit back and be a student of life. It was like I had to be the one that was like leading things, or the one that was that just knew the answers to things. So
Yeah.
it just like created a lot of emotional turmoil because I had expectations of how things would go instead of going into things with like an idea of what I thought it was gonna be like. Even like the labor that I had with Lily, like I had an idea of what I thought it was gonna be like. It was nothing like it was gonna be like, but I still was able to go into it with like an open, without an attachment to what the outcome was gonna be like. So I was able to flow through the way that it went a lot easier than if I was like attached to an outcome out of fear, because I'm like, I need it to go this way because it feels safer to me, opposed to like being able to trust yourself to navigate the unknown.
Mm. Isn't that's so juicy? Isn't that, I think the cause of a lot of pain is expecting it to be a certain way when it's not that way. There's something wrong, or the world's coming down. And I think, well, I know that's where most of my challenges come from, is not
Mm-hmm.
in a certain way. And being at 52, going on 53, a lot of things I think, well, by now I should have it here, or it should look like this.
Mm-hmm.
And your reminder of, we're always a student of life.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always room to learn, and there's always room to expand deeper. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that ego thing, thinking we need to arrive somewhere, or thinking that it needs to look a certain way, where we get into trouble. And so I love that you brought this up, because leading into Summer of Adventures, there's a lot of people in this group now that I know they're nervous. I've talked to a couple of them. They're scared.
Mm-hmm.
I say to them, I'm so happy. That's great. You're meant to be there.
Yeah.
Right. And some people really, they're afraid of the fear. They're afraid of the being scared. Like it's saying that it's almost like, what am I stepping into? I think that's totally normal in adventure, don't you think?
100%. Yeah. Like, especially like our minds, like it's there to protect us. Like there's a big part of our brain that is survival in there to protect us. So when there's an unknown, it's naturally going to create fears and random stories of things that could happen or could go wrong or whatever to try to keep us safe and in that comfort zone. right? But it's like, even those scenarios that your mind creates, they're all just illusions. They're all just made up stories trying to keep you safe. So I find for myself, like when I can just acknowledge that they're there and just remind myself that I am safe, then I can then go into it. But it really is, it's that journey of like, you have to continually step outside of that comfort zone to then begin trusting yourself that you have everything you need inside of you to keep you safe on that. Or even if something does kind of go awry or whatever, it's just like this like faith and this trust that there's going to be other people that can help you, or Carrie's there, or this person's there, and you're never going to go through it alone. And I think now, especially with social media and stuff too, it's like we really don't have to go through anything alone. Like you can hire mentors from across the globe if you're moving through something that that you don't feel equipped to deal with, right? Like there's so many things you can kind of lean into now. It's not like it used to be, which is just incredible. So it really is just having that openness. I think like the biggest thing I think is just like that student mindset of being okay to be able to not know what the heck's going on, you know,
Yeah,
or to not know the answer.
there's always people you can guide. Like I remember way back in the years, it was just my therapist and Tony Robbins. And it wasn't talked about outside of that, really.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of personal development. I'm talking 20 years ago, over 20 years ago when I started my healing journey. And then it's evolved so much that there's so
Yeah.
many areas and people that can guide you and help you, and you can come to the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And one story I'd love you to share, because Laura did this a year ago, I think. She had it was either intuitive hit or was told by your astrologist, I think, just randomly. That's when you know you're kind of going with the flow in life. She heard that you were called to go to Finland, random place, and she followed that call. So share a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. So it was my astrologer. So I go see my astrologer every single year, usually for my birthday. I didn't go this year because I'm not traveling anyway right now. So it doesn't really matter if I go see him now or if I go see him in a month or so. But I'm like a very like spiritual person for those people who don't know me, which I don't think many people in this group do quite yet. But a lot of that came from my appointments that I had with my astrologer and diving into human design and kind of all of these different things that look at where you were born, when you were born, and like how that kind of dictates your life path in this lifetime. And like there were so many things that he had said throughout my sessions that were just so bang on that I would continue going back, and he would continue going deeper into my chart and telling me things, and like could be able to tell me like the different time spans that things would happen, and things just kept happening that he was telling me. And I was like, okay, there's definitely something to this. And so for your birthday, what you can do is you can go and he can tell you basically like where on the planet is the best for you to be for your birthday, your solar return. And so when I went to him, he had said Finland. I was like, oh, come on. Couldn't it be like Colombia? Because I had a friend that was over in Colombia. Julie was actually over in Colombia at that time. I'm like, couldn't it be like Colombia or something that I could have went to? Like Finland? I'm like, really?
Damn, it should have been Austria.
Totally, 100%. I would have loved if it was Austria. And so I ended up going to Finland. I just booked my flight and I went, and it was a very like spontaneous trip. I didn't have much time to plan for it. And I ended up going and I flowed with it. I had no plans. I actually connected with somebody through Julia, who connected me with somebody who lived over there, and she was going to be away. So she was like, you can go stay at my house. It's no like just go stay. She lived with a bunch of other roommates. And it was just like the most incredible trip. I stayed with them for a little bit. Then I flew up north into like the Arctic Circle. And I stayed up there in a hostel for a couple of days and just like met the most amazing people along my travels. And I think that's the biggest thing with traveling, is that I've met so many cool, amazing people just like connecting in hostels or like just the most random places where like when you meet them, like it's just like this resonance. You like connect on social media or whatever, and you only maybe touch base every once in a while, but it's just like I know that when I met this person, it was going to be like this person was going to stay in my life, and like there was going to be like a really amazing connection there. And it's like I never know when I'm going to see a lot of these people or reconnect with a lot of these people, but it's just like this like resonance and this connection with these people. And it's so cool just knowing how many amazing people I've met along my travels, which has also strengthened my belief in like human race, you know. It can be easy to kind of like get caught up in like the societal type stuff of like things that aren't going right and get caught into the drama like you were saying, but it really does like bring me out of that perspective and be like, yo, no, there's so many amazing human beings on this planet that are a lot like me. And it just kind of made me feel more at home within myself and within the planet too with my travels. It's just been like really amazing for my growth and expansion.
I love that. And when you follow the hit to go somewhere, like on any type of adventure, like that's a perfect example of an adventure, not planning, just kind of going. But even then the ones that are planned, like the ones I have this summer, people kind of follow their gut, you know, I should go on this. And just like you said, it's about the community, the people, and the people that you meet and the conversations that you have. That's the rich, that's the like that's the Nutella on the bread. That's the sweet stuff. It's nice where you're going. The mountains are incredible. All of it's incredible. But it's the stuff that you learn through the other people. That
For
you learn
sure.
about yourself through the other people over casual conversation over dinner. Or how you got over that fear walking up the mountain. It's all the stuff in between. And just like you said, every day we're faced negativity, TV, whatever is out there. But here you get to go, when you travel, then you kind of see life in different cultures, and that there's good people out there. It's not all what everything's sometimes portrayed to be in some places, right? You get the real raw.
Sure. You do, yeah. And it's cool too, like just hearing people's stories and stuff like that too. Like growing up here in like a small town, it was like for so much of my life, like you think that like your bubble is like the way that everybody lives, you know, and that's so not the case. You know, everybody's living such different experiences. So I find when I really like hear people's stories and what people move through and the challenges and struggles and the wins and all these things, like it's expanded me into seeing that like there's a lot of similarities between stories. Like there's like similarities between everybody, but then there's also so many things that are completely different that people experience too. And I don't know, it's just really fascinating to hear that. It's really made me both be grateful for a lot of the things we have here in Canada, but then also be able to see the things that other countries and other people have within their countries and their upbringing that are superior, in my opinion, to the way that we're raised in culture here too. So then it's like I get to then merge all of that into the way that I bring up Lily and the way that I do things in my life too. So it's like it's super cool just to like, I don't know, it really is. It's just like this way of seeing life as like this like growth opportunity in everything. And it's really neat.
Wow. So I mean, there's so much juice you said. So as we wrap up, what would be the main message or main motto, how you are now living your life by?
A motto.
Or a
I think
message.
just like make the most out of it. You know, like there's like a glass half full and it's a glass half empty, and we have choice in it. You know, like being able to choose the thoughts that I think, you know, like not all the thoughts in my head are empowering. However, I just don't attach to the ones that aren't anymore. They don't have as strong of a hold or grip over me because I know that they're just there from conditioning somewhere. Who knows? I could have watched a movie and it said whatever story and it picked up on that. You know, it's not actually coming from anything that's truly authentically me. So like just being intentional with kind of my thoughts and stuff like that, I'd say that would be the biggest thing. And even when the other ones do come in, you can reframe them and change them. It's like literally like having like a book where you're rewriting a new chapter.
Yeah.
And I use that analogy a lot.
Be willing to question it. If it doesn't feel truthful anymore, being willing to question it. Do I really need that now?
Yeah. And if it doesn't feel good, why keep it?
Yeah. Right
It doesn't
on,
feel good.
sister.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter what it is. Like you can recreate it. And if it's something that feels good to you, then that's great. It doesn't matter if anybody else thinks that same thing or whatever. It's just like feels good to me. So I'm keeping it.
You're just incredible.
Oh, thanks, Carrie.
And this new adventure that you're on, I just can't wait to hear, all the phases of it. And I can't wait to meet Lily
I
over.
know.
I want Lily to meet Lily.
100%. Yes.
I want double Lily. Double Lily.
That would be incredible. I can't wait.
Oh my goodness. So honey, thank you for jumping on. And I would love anybody that's listening to this in the group to just drop down a nugget or what you're taking away from this conversation. We would love to hear. And I just sending you a big hug, sister.
Oh, I'm sending you one back. Thank you so much for having me on here. I appreciate it. And I hope that
you
those
for
listening
hopping
find some value. And I'm excited to read the little nuggets too.
Yeah, write your nuggets, everybody.
Thank you, Carrie. Bye. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.